You guys, we got a quick little vocab recap for you today. So nothing too crazy, should be a quick one. We're just going to go over some vocab. So first we have adaptation. Remember, this is a trait that helps an organism survive better in its environment. So for example, we know the moths. If the trees are black, the adaptation is to be a dark-winged moth because that trait helps them survive. So dark-winged moths have the adaptation. All right, next up word is selective pressure. This means the aspect of the environment that causes some traits to be better. So in this picture, you see this bird is only eating the green bugs because these brown bugs are camouflaging to the tree because the tree is brown. So the selective pressure is the color of the tree because that's the part of the environment that's making it that being brown is a better trait to have. All right, next up is natural selection. You guys know this one means that we start out with a lot of genetic variation, many different types of traits, and then some traits are better than others for the environment. So the individuals with those traits are surviving and reproducing more often, which causes the frequency of those better traits to increase. Another word for better traits or helpful traits is adaptation. So individuals who have the better traits have the adaptation. You guys can see natural selection happening in this example here, just like a lot of examples we've seen in class. These gray mice are camouflaged more into the land, so the bird flying up above sees the white mice better. Over time, the gray mice are surviving more, so then they're reproducing more, and towards the end, being a gray mouse, because they have the adaptation, that trait has become more common. All right, last vocab word here is trait. A trait is a characteristic that's determined by DNA. So some examples we've talked about is like your hair color, your eye color, your height, the shape of your head, the shape of your ears, things like that. But traits are not always visible. So for example, you might be more likely to get a certain disease based on your DNA. That would still be a trait. You might have stronger or weaker bones. That might be a different trait that you have. That's still determined by DNA. So yeah, traits don't always have to be visible. Those are usually easier ones for us to discuss and find examples of, but there are plenty of traits that are not visible. So yeah, this has been your vocab recap here. If you need to review any of these vocab words, you can use this video to make flashcards and quiz yourself doing that. If you have any questions, let us know in class, and we'll see you soon. Bye.